In 1995, Michael Mann released Heat, a crime epic starring Al Pacino and Robert De Niro that would redefine the entire genre. On the surface, it looked like a sleek cops and robbers thriller, but behind the scenes, absolute chaos. Real bullets tested, downtown LA shut down, and a production that nearly collapsed at every turn. What you're about to hear are 12 facts that most fans have never discovered. And trust me, some of these will change how you see this movie forever. Fact 1. But here's something most fans have no idea about. Heat wasn't dreamed up in a writer's room. Michael Mann based it on the true story of Chicago police detective Chuck Adamson, who in 1963 pursued and eventually killed a career criminal named Neil McCauley. The most incredible part? Adamson actually sat down with McCauley for coffee before their final confrontation, just like the iconic dinner scene in the movie. They talked, knowing one of them might have to kill the other someday. Mann kept the story with him for over 30 years before finally bringing it to screen, staying remarkably true to the real events. Fact 2. Now, what if I told you that the legendary restaurant scene made Hollywood history? That moment where these two titans finally sit across from each other, it was the first time Al Pacino and Robert De Niro ever acted together in the same scene, despite both being massive stars for decades. They'd both been in The Godfather Part 2, but never shared screen time. Studios were genuinely worried about how it would work. According to reports, De Niro suggested they film the scene without rehearsing it first to keep it fresh and spontaneous. Mann agreed, and that raw, unrehearsed energy is exactly what you feel crackling through the screen. It wasn't just great acting, it was genuine tension between two legends meeting for the first time. Fact 3. But wait until you hear what happened when they filmed the bank shootout. When the heist explodes across your screen, the sound is absolutely deafening, and there's a reason for that. Mann refused to add gunfire effects in post-production. Instead, he had the actors fire full-power blank rounds right there on the streets of downtown Los Angeles. The production shut down parts of downtown LA every Saturday and Sunday for 6 weeks. The echo bouncing off those skyscrapers was completely real. The problem? Nobody warned the residents. People genuinely thought a shootout was happening and flooded police lines with 911 calls. The authenticity paid off though. That shootout sequence is now shown to U.S. Marines at MCRD San Diego as an example of effective tactical retreat under fire. Fact 4. Here's where things take a personal turn. While filming Heat, Val Kilmer was going through a painful divorce from actress Joanne Whalley. She filed for divorce in July 1995, right in the middle of production, and his character, Chris Sierler's, just happens to be dealing with a crumbling marriage. While we can't say definitively that Kilmer's real pain directly influenced every scene, the timing was undeniable. The raw vulnerability you see in his performance came during one of the most difficult periods of his life. Whether intentional or not, art and life were colliding in real time. Fact 5. What almost nobody knows is this detail about Mann's obsession with authenticity. Not everyone on set was a professional actor. Mann brought in ex-convicts and took his cast to visit Folsom State Prison to meet real criminals and study their behavior. He wanted his actors to understand how career criminals actually move, think, and operate. The cast spent time with these consultants learning everything from how to handle weapons to how real thieves scope out locations. Studio executives were nervous, but Mann insisted. He wanted Heat to feel real, even if it meant taking unconventional risks that most directors would avoid. Fact 6. Here's something wild that Pacino revealed decades later. You know how Vincent Hanna's character is so volatile, with those sudden mood swings and manic energy? In his 2024 memoir, Sonny Boy, Pacino revealed he built his entire performance around the idea that Hanna was using cocaine, even though it's never shown in the film. Pacino said there was actually a scene filmed where you see Hanna snorting cocaine in a club, but Mann cut it from the final version. Without that context, Pacino's explosive performance seemed over the top to some viewers. That famous scene where he yells about someone having a great ass wasn't fully scripted. His co-star, Hank Azaria, later said he was genuinely terrified in that moment, especially since it was his 30th birthday. Fact 7. But behind the scenes, something incredible was happening with the training. Mann hired former British SAS agent Andy McNabb to put the cast through intensive weapons training. The actors underwent a 3-month training program, learning to handle weapons like real professionals. They weren't just holding guns for the camera. They trained until the movements became instinctive. Val Kilmer became so proficient at reloading his rifle that the footage is now used in actual U.S. Marine Corps training. According to Kilmer himself, he heard that Marine instructors tell recruits, "If you can't change a clip as fast as this actor, get out of my army." That's not Hollywood exaggeration. Gun experts and military trainers have confirmed it for decades. Fact 8. Now here's something that will blow your mind about the iconic diner scene. That coffee shop confrontation between Pacino and De Niro is one of cinema's most legendary moments, and Mann filmed it with a minimal crew and maximum secrecy. According to reports, De Niro suggested they skip rehearsals entirely. Mann agreed, wanting raw spontaneity instead of polished performance. The two actors sat across from each other for the first time in their careers with no practice runs. The crew watched in silence, knowing they were witnessing something historic. Mann later admitted that if the scene didn't work, the entire movie would collapse. Everything was riding on 2 cups of coffee and the electric tension between two legends. Fact 9. When De Niro's crew storms that bank wearing those stark white hockey masks, it creates genuine terror. But Mann didn't invent that image. He pulled it directly from real Los Angeles robberies in the 1980s, where criminals used similar masks to intimidate victims. The production team consulted LAPD archives to get the details right. Mann understood that faceless masks create a deeper psychological fear than gore ever could. They turn criminals into interchangeable shadows, unstoppable and inhuman. It's a detail ripped straight from real crime files. Fact 10. But wait until you hear about the real-life stakes on set. Tom Sizemore, who played crew member Michael Chirito, was battling serious personal demons during production. According to crew members, Mann gave him a clear ultimatum: stay clean throughout the entire shoot or lose the role. Reports suggest Mann had people quietly monitoring Sizemore's behavior to ensure he stayed on track. The pressure was intense. Despite that tension, or perhaps because of it, Sizemore delivered one of his most controlled performances. Every scene carried the weight of real consequences. This wasn't just acting. His job was literally on the line. Fact 11. After Heat premiered, law enforcement noticed something chilling. Criminals began studying and imitating the movie's tactics. Just 2 years later, in 1997, the infamous North Hollywood shootout unfolded, where 2 heavily armed men took on LAPD officers in broad daylight using military-grade weapons and body armor. Authorities immediately compared it to Heat. Police found a copy of Heat in one of the shooters' homes. The parallels were impossible to ignore. Crew-style coordination, overwhelming firepower, downtown chaos. Mann's masterpiece had crossed from fiction into reality. While the film was never blamed directly, its influence on real criminals became part of its complex legacy. Fact 12. And here's the most eerie part of all that will give you the chills. During filming, Chuck Adamson, the real detective who killed Neil McCauley back in 1963, visited the set. He watched as Robert De Niro reenacted conversations that were almost identical to the ones he'd actually had with the real McCauley 30 years earlier. According to crew members who were there, Adamson became visibly emotional and shaken. One person recalled him saying it was like watching a ghost come back to life. Mann later said he made the film as a way of memorializing both men, the cop and the thief, forever locked in pursuit. Heat wasn't just entertainment, it was a haunting resurrection of real lives, real conflict, and real death. So there you have it. Heat wasn't just a heist movie. It was a collision of obsession, authenticity, and real-world danger that changed crime cinema forever. From downtown streets turned into war zones to actors training like soldiers. From personal struggles bleeding onto the screen to a real detective confronting ghosts from his past, this film pushed every boundary. The line between reality and fiction didn't just blur, it was completely shattered. And that's exactly what makes Heat unforgettable, even 30 years later. If you enjoyed uncovering these facts, hit that like button and subscribe for more hidden stories behind your favorite movies. Drop a comment below and let me know which fact shocked you the most, or tell me what movie you want us to cover next. Trust me, there are plenty more Hollywood secrets waiting to be revealed, and you won't want to miss what's coming.